Hello and welcome to another online Artemis session with me, Nick the drama teacher, Joe and Honey. So this week guys, we're going to be talking about audition preparation skills and how we can make ourselves fully prepared for the audition that we're about to have. Now there's many different routines and ways and skill sets that we need to learn to be able to make ourselves prepared. But first of all, we need to do a warm-up. So, we're going to shake our bodies out as well, so let's start with our nice shaky hands. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Legs 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other leg 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fours 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just shake it out and do the funky chicken as well. Little bit of a dance. Excellent stuff. Cool. So we want to start off by warming up our faces. So I'm going to give you a emotion, a character emotion to pull with your face. Now I'm also going to mix this in later with a different physical emotion. So it's a bit of one of them again, so you need to be paying attention all the time. So first of all, let's get our faces nice and warmed up, massaging everything. So forehead, massage the cheeks, massaging nose and ears. Good, give yourself a little pat down, all the way down. And all the way back up again. Good, and tap your head, make sure you're tapping everything, make sure we feel really alive and really energised. Good, and let's just vocalise our sound so we get our voices warmed up as well. So, I'm just going to start off with a big ha, and nice and resonant sound. So, ha, 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 ha. Brilliant, okay. I want you to take one line of your audition that you have in your script and speak that out, okay? So for example, I'm going to go with the typical Shakespeare, which is to be or not to be, that is the question. Okay, you guys can do the same one as me, to make it nice and easy. So to be or not to be, that is the question. But for you guys, think about an audition preparation or an audition material or monologue that you're using at the moment, and maybe speak that line out just so we can get into a routine with it. Okay, so, nice and resonant, we're going to aim for row Z to our sleeping grandparents, okay? And we're going to wake them up with a nice resonant line. Here we go. To be or not to be, that is the question. Excellent, really simple. This time, you're going to put a face whilst saying your line, okay? So, we're going to go for a big happy emotion, a big smile, and we're going to release that line. So here we go, ready? And to be or not to be, that is the question. Excellent. Let's try again with a different emotion. We're going to go for anger this time. So, here we go. To be or not to be, that is the question. Well done, good. So you can play about with different emotions and give yourself different styles that you want to say that line, but this is just going to get us into the character that we're trying to portray. So, let's mix up different emotions now. So we're going to go for our facial expressions, and I'm going to give you a different physicality as well. So, we're going to go for a jealous face, okay, jealous face, and we're going to go for an angry physicality. So, we're going to walk around in our square as we do this, okay, so an angry physicality with a jealous face. So, get that jealous face. And angry body, go. Excellent, good, okay. It's quite confusing because you're trying to do one thing with your body and a different thing with your face. Let's mix it around this time, so let's go for a shy face with a happy physicality, okay? So shy face, here we go. And happy physicality. Good, okay. Excellent. So give yourself some other different ones to play with there, and it gets your brain switching on as well, so that we're thinking about lots of different things. Our physicality and our facial expressions. Brilliant stuff. Okay, so let's talk about audition material and prep. So when you receive your material, first of all, you're going to create a character, okay? So what you need to know is that as soon as you create this character, there are no right or wrong choices, okay? There are only bold choices. So once you've received your character and you've decided how you want to play it, then we can think of ways of how we learn it. So when you first receive the text, the thing I'd recommend doing is to record the text straight away. Read everything out and record yourself. Because the first time you read a text is possibly the truest you'll find reading it, because it's the first time the audience hears something, so it's the first time you're reading something. Okay, so obviously you'll have grammatical errors that you'll read out, and then you can fine tweak that later on. So let's talk about recording our duologue scene. So say, for example, we had a duologue scene, but you don't actually have the person there in the room to help you learn it with you. So one good tip that I like to use is recording it on my phone. Of course, you can always say it out loud and put your hand over the paper and then check afterwards to see if you got it right. But I really like this one because it feels like somebody else is in the room with you. So I'm going to take this little script here from Toy Story, and it's a conversation between Buzz and Woody. So first of all, I'm going to get my voice recorder out. So first of all, we're going to take this duologue scene from Toy Story. Now, it's a conversation between Buzz and Woody. Now, for example, we are going to be auditioning for the role of Woody. So I will then pre-record all of Buzz's lines, okay? And making sure that we leave a nice long gap in between that we can fill the line out. So you can do this with headphones in as well, so it doesn't disturb somebody on the train or the bus or whatever. They'll just think you're talking to yourself. So I'm going to re-record Buzz's lines. So here we go. Hiya! Local law enforcement, it's about time you got here. My ship has crash landed here by mistake. Okay, and then we're going to pause there. So, seems quite long-winded, and especially if it's quite a long script, but it is really helpful. So, we play that back and we just fill in the lines. So, Buzz starts. Hiya! Whoa, hey, did I frighten you? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Howdy, my name is Woody and this here is Andy's room. That's all I wanted to say. Local law enforcement, it's about time you got here. My ship has crash landed here by mistake. Yes, it is a mistake, because you see, this bed here is my spot. Okay, then we're going to pause there. There you've got my voice at the end. So it's really simple. And then what I'd recommend doing as well is once you've learned your side, give yourself a little test, because for me, it's really important that you understand the whole storyline, not just your part. So you want to look at Buzz's part as well. So I'd go back and I'd re-record Woody, and I'd fill in for Buzz. The reason this is helpful is because we can pick up our cue lines, and cue lines are really important because sometimes we just wait for the last word before we speak, and we go, oh, we know that Buzz has just said by mistake, so therefore we know that it's our time to talk, whereas that takes out all the listening aspect of performing. So if we know all of Buzz's lines and we know what he's talking about, then we can really connect with both characters. So go back, re-record both parts, and see if you can pick up your cue lines as well. Okay, great. So now moving on to the preparation side of an audition, which is possibly the most important part. You never want to walk into an audition room half knowing your material. There are many ways that we can prepare for an audition, and one of the main ones is knowing the part that you're playing. So if you can do some research on that character online, great. If it's a totally new play that you don't know, then that's when we bring in our bold character decisions. It's really important to stand out because these casting directors have heard the same stuff all day. They've heard the same monologue or duologue all day. So it's really important that your character choices stand out. Another thing is knowing the casting director that you're auditioning for and the director, because they might look at specific actors or certain looks that they're going for. So it's really good to be ahead of the game and even drop in if you can, just, oh, hey, I saw the play at the Almeida Theatre and I thought it was brilliant. It's always a nice little touch that the casting director then knows that you are interested in their work. Same with the director, same with the choreographer, and same with the pianist or whoever is doing your songs for you. So let's talk about a live audition and walking into the room. The first impression you have on the casting director or director is key. So you want to walk into the room with confidence. You want to feel energized and you want to feel ready to go. This is the first time they're meeting you. And just bear in mind that a lot of theatre productions go on for maybe 2 to 3, maybe even 6 months. So they want to make sure that they're working with an actor who's going to get on with everybody else in the cast. If you appear difficult or argumentative, then they're not going to want to work with you. So it's really important that you walk in the room really smiley, really happy, and ready to work. So other ways we can walk into the room is our costume and what we're wearing. So these give subtle hints of our character, and I'd never recommend fully dressing up for the role unless you've been asked to. So here's a little game for you. So I'm going to give you a character, and you're going to try and find an item of clothing that would portray that character just slightly. So if I said, for example, Danny from Greece, would we go with the full leather jacket, hair back, and the twirly hair down, and a T-bird t-shirt and all that? Or would we go for possibly just a white t-shirt with maybe like a black jacket? I think it's really important to just show the subtleties of the character. Again, it's almost seeing that person in real life and going, oh, they could play that part, because without even knowing, you've shown them a subtle glimpse of that through your costume. So say a character on the TV that we're moving to stage always wears brown, it might be worth wearing brown in the audition for that character. Also, knowing things that stand out for you personally. As I said again, eyes are the window to the soul. So if you're wearing something that shows the colour of your eyes, for example, my eyes are blue, I'd wear a nice light blue shirt or something light to show those eyes off. Or, certain makeup that you wear. If you're wearing makeup for a role, if that character wears makeup, you might overdo the makeup in a comical way, or you might wear no makeup at all if they're that sort of character that doesn't wear any makeup. So always think about those different choices that you can make for appearance in an audition. Great, so now we've covered all aspects of theatre auditions. So I want you to think about how we'd self-tape for something for TV and film. Now this is really important, and there's a lot of do's and don'ts, and we'll talk about that with some pictures that I'll show you. So self-taping is really important that you get the right background, okay? And we always want to keep a nice neutral background, something quite grey or beige in the background. Sometimes your wallpaper is just enough. I definitely recommend standing in front of a nice open window if you have it in your house, because you get the nice natural light on your face as well. And this can be really complementary to what you're wearing and your appearance on camera. So now that we've got our backdrop, we've got our nice beige backdrop, you want to think about not having any distractions in. Okay, this is really important, because if you're auditioning for somebody that is a car salesman, you've got to do it inside. You've got to do the self-tape inside. We're not going to get you to stand in a car factory. So do we want things like light switches in the top left-hand corner or side of door frames hanging off? Probably not, because that's going to be distracting, and therefore that is going to set us in a house, okay? So it sounds really silly, but these casting directors have watched over 50 tapes sometimes, and even the smallest thing like a light switch in the background can be really distracting. So nice neutral backgrounds, and we're ready to go. So the distance that you are from the camera as well, you want to keep it nice and shoulder height, unless they've specified otherwise. So we're making sure our camera is far enough away from us. Test it once or twice, put it in selfie mode if you're using a phone, or watch it back. Okay, eye line as well if you're doing a duologue, make sure to watch that back. So to the left or to the right of the camera is always good. Not too high, not too low. We don't want to look like we're talking to a newborn baby, and we don't want to look like we're talking to a giant. Okay, so a nice good eye level either side of the camera, and watch it back as well. Brilliant. Now let's talk about our profiles. So for our profiles, we need to show both sides of our body, front and sometimes hands, okay? So you introduce yourself, the agency that you're with, and the character that you're reading for. For example, my name is Nick, and I'm reading for Woody in Toy Story. These are my profiles. You stand to the right, you stand to the left, you face back to the camera, and both sides of your hands like this. And then you can continue straight into the piece. Okay. So here we can see some do's and don'ts of what we like to see as a self-tape. So, between these two images, can you identify which one would be the correct self-tape? Yep, it's this one right here. Well done. Okay, so a really important factor of auditions is knowing that you have the right energy walking into the room. You really want to catch their eye straight away. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to play a little game. I like to call this game the cauldron game. So we're going to have a big cauldron in front of us, and it's really big, this big, and inside this cauldron is every word you could ever think of. Okay? And I want you to pull the words out of the cauldron. Got it? So, using your imagination, you can think of anything, and I want you to continuously say these words as we're pulling it out. But every word that we pull out of the cauldron needs to be the shape of what we're saying. So if you're pulling something small out, like a pencil, a dragon, a bowl, we want to see that in your physicality, okay? So I'll go first, and when I can't think of anything, I'm just going to shout brain freeze. Okay? Here we go. So, sellotape, pencil, a window, my lunchbox, a dragon, brain freeze. Okay, so that wasn't a very good example, but Joe's going to do a lot better. So, Joe, do you want to give it a go for me? Must be holding in front of me. Off you go.
A handbag, a car, a tree, a table, a controller, a Wii remote, a camera, brain freeze.
Brilliant, good job. Right for Joe, well done. How do you give it a go? Off you go.
Some CDs, a hat, some sunglasses, a strawberry, oh, a pineapple, oh, some nice flowers, some shoes, brain freeze.
Brilliant, well done. So if you struggle with this, the best thing to think of is look at things around the room, because that might give you a little clue. So I saw a window, so I said big window. Saw a lunchbox over there, so I said a lunchbox. So that can be really helpful. Try not to pre-plan ahead, because you'll get to 3 words in and you won't have thought of anything. It's best to come straight off of the spot. Brilliant stuff. So now we're nice and energised. Why don't you have a go? Okay, so just remember, with an audition, it's always important to prepare. You can never prepare enough. A good time to prepare is in the evening, not the night before the audition, but generally at night is better, because in the morning, it seems to have sunk in a lot better. It does for me anyway. So there's lots of little handy tips and tricks you can find, but what I want you guys to do is find me some crazy stories of actors auditioning. So, have a little look on the internet, see what crazy stories you can find. But for us, it's goodbye and see you next week. Bye.